Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV with your host, Kyle Ellicott. Today, we are going to be talking about something incredibly important, no matter what side of the table you're on, whether you're an investor or an entrepreneur, doesn't matter, because we are talking today about pitch decks and the tips and tricks that we've learned both as founders and as investors that we like to see in ideal pitch decks. And I'm joined with some outstanding friends from the VCTV family to share their thoughts and insights as, again, both investors and founders, and maybe something otherwise as well, and what they've seen on what makes a good ideal pitch deck. But before we get started, big thank you to the Token team, to Hasmik and Maria for making today's episode possible. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. Let's go ahead and get into introductions quickly. Jason, welcome back to today's show.
Well, thank you, Kyle, for having me, as well as the Token TV. Always glad to be here. My name is Jason Jacobson. I run Propellant Ventures. We're about boldly investing in companies powering the future. We're focused on investing in companies that are in pre-seed and early seed stage throughout the Midwest region of the U.S., and we specifically focus on B2B industries such as healthcare, fintech, supply chain future work, and several other industries. And personally, I've been involved in the entrepreneurial community and investment community for over 20 years. So this topic is perfect for me. I've spent a lot of time also guiding entrepreneurs on how to do a good pitch deck. So happy to be here.
It's a ton of fun too. A pitch deck really just opens up the veil of what everyone is thinking, right? What the entrepreneur is thinking, how their team perceives themselves within the industry, but also gives you as an investor or as an operator or an advisor the chance to learn something as well and be given some advice and education around a new topic or industry. But we'll come back to that in just a moment. Vandana, welcome back to the show as well. A little intro, a little background.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle, for having me here. And thank you to the entire team of Token TV for having me here. It's a great topic to speak on. In fact, I have given a lot of talks on these topics and guided many entrepreneurs on how to create the best kind of pitch deck. Coming to a brief introduction about myself, I had my own family office in Singapore and Jakarta for 15 years. I worked as an investment banker and advisor to family offices and angel investors in Indonesia, helping startups from a diverse background. After 15 years of staying there, I came back to India. That is when Convanto was founded. And soon after, I came India after Convanto was founded. Now it is one of the well-known boutique investment banks in India, led by a female founder. Today, I'm also a venture advisor with Loyal VC, having a core portfolio of 160 investments in over 35 countries, and I'm a partner with GST Venture Studios as well. I've also been selected as one of the top 10 women leaders in Wealth Management 2021. My expert opinion is often sought in leading business news channels like VCTV, Business World. I've participated in 160 talks all over the world. All of them are visible on YouTube and VCTV streaming sites. I'm connected with 300 investors globally. We pick up global deals. We are sector agnostic, and typically we do $1 million to $25 million. And once again, thank you for having me here.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Well, last but not least, Nicole, welcome back. Short intro and background, please.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here today with you all, Kyle, Jason, Vandana. You all are experts. And so I really look forward to just having a healthy conversation around this topic. I also have been developing pitch decks for myself and my own businesses, as well as clients for my firm Outfront Solutions. And so we've been doing pitch decks since, this is going to date me, but the mid-90s. And I've learned a thing or two, have raised over almost $500 million in those ventures, and thankfully a lot of really good outcomes from those raises. I have 2 unicorns under my belt, 1 decacorn from a female founder, which I love, and just a lot of really successful exits. So I love the topic of standing alongside entrepreneurs, helping them with growth and valuation. And so I look forward to a healthy conversation around that now.
Absolutely. A wonderful conversation to be had. I mean, pitch decks are the heart in some cases as of a company, right? We know financial models are the heartbeat. Without the beat, it's not happening. But the heart of it, and really, again, opening up the veil, showing what's there, how they're thinking, and how we are thinking as investors, because we also have to build pitch decks, either about the portfolio that we have, if we're showcasing that, whether we're doing a presentation or if we're building a fund as well. But with each of you, what are maybe one of those key, top one, top two things you look for in every pitch deck that you view? And Jason, let's start off with you real quick. What are one or two main things you look for in every pitch deck?
There are definitely a lot of things, but I would say one of the most important aspects early on is to tell a story. Frame the story around a problem and a solution that your company's identified. You want it to flow throughout, but telling a story is extremely important, especially if it's something that has impacted you personally. So bring that into the pitch deck, and it tells us why you started the business, and it really relates to some personal experience. And there's many other things, but also the one thing I'll mention is the team is, excuse me, is extremely important. Whether your team has industry experience, has had success starting companies or selling companies, or even you have a good advisory board. And we know early on you're not going to have a full team, but we want to see that you're resourceful and can find good people to bring around you. So having a really good team is important, even if they're part-time and just advisors, but putting good people around you to help you make some of those good decisions in the business are extremely important.
That's a very, very good point. And sometimes that team slide gets a little bit, not enough love, I shall say. One thing I've seen in a lot of pitch decks is either no love on the team, and it's just a bunch of just pictures, or multiple team slides. So you've got a team slide, and you've got an advisor slide, and you've got a board slide. And really, you can condense a lot of that. And there's some very unique ways, as I'm sure Nicole has seen as well, that you can design those slides to just easily encompass, the core team members, highlight of the rest of the team, a few core advisors that are present to the audience you're presenting to. And in most cases, unless it's necessary, you don't need to show your board of directors as well. And I know some companies do, some companies don't, but scale it back, know your audience when you go into those. And also it's good to show, I like, based on Jason's response, I like to see a logo or two of where a founder has been or an executive has been. I don't need a full bio. That's what LinkedIn is for, or your executive management packet in the data room. But I do want to hear, one or two bullet points of what they've done before. Nicole, what about you? What have you seen in terms of one or two key things that you need to have in every deck that you review?
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Well, I didn't mention before, but I wear a couple of different hats. I not only help on developing these decks via my firm Outfront Solutions, but I am also in venture capital. I advise a fund called How Women Invest. I am a partner in a couple of other firms, one called Seed Milestone Fund. So I am always on both sides of the table and thinking that way. And something that I see that entrepreneurs don't do almost just a majority of the time is to clearly articulate who their audience is. Who is your market? And it's so important that you are conveying all the attributes that you understand about your market. Now, you're not meant to be boiling the ocean and addressing the largest market that you could, which is your total addressable market. I like to see the total addressable market, the serviceable addressable market, and then the serviceable obtainable market. So no investor wants to see you come out and say that you're targeting a really large audience, because typically there's not enough funding on the planet to do that. So boil it down, show that you know your audience, show that you know the size of company, show that you know the title of the person you're reaching, show that you know the industry, and make it really clear what you believe is obtainable. There's a lot of respect for that. And in that, it's really important to make your communication simple and truly understandable. You know, you may be pitching somebody who has a depth of experience in your market, or you may be not necessarily, you know, reaching somebody who does know it. So it is really important to keep things simple. That's a great leadership trait, is to make your pitch and your communications simple. Don't dumb it down. There's no need to do that, right? Respect the intelligence of your audience, but know who your audience is. So know your audience as an investor, like what's the right type of investor, and communicate well via the pitch deck that way. And then show that you know your target business audience as well. I think the one other thing I want to say is just be sure that you have a clear, crystal clear value proposition. You've got to communicate exactly the problem that you're solving. And then investors can align around that. And typically, when you do nail your value proposition, the investors see where and how they can get involved and help you move the needle for your business. And it becomes more of a conversation that way.
That's an absolutely great point, Nicole, as well. And I think market is definitely another one of those slides that gets a little less love than it should. And it's something that actually, helps formulate how you may present your company externally as well, where you may focus in going after a certain, customer base, where you may focus geographically, how you may present your products, price your products, et cetera. It really, the thing about a pitch deck, I think we all tend to forget furthermore, is that while it may be 10, 12, 15, 20, 25, 30 slides, it's all over the place. It really is a foundation to your business. And that's kind of how it begins. And the idea is that it's ever evolving, but it gives you guiding points to where you may want to focus in your earliest days. And then later, to Jason and your points, it helps further tell that story in a much more simplistic fashion versus the complexity that is your business as well. And this is something that can be done by anybody, anywhere in the world. It's the same. It's that same 10 to 12, that same 15 to 18, that same 25 to 30 page slide deck as well for everybody. It's just, again, that information you put in as well. And Vandana, same to you. One or two areas you're seeing that you really have to see in a pitch deck to know that it's of quality to move forward in a conversation.
So, Kyle, first of all, pitch deck is a very, very important document which helps us get investors. So it's like, supposing you're selling Hershey's chocolate. You're going to wrap it up nicely so that the children get attracted to it and they start buying it and consuming it. Similarly, we are selling our company to the investors. Hence, the pitch deck is the very, very important document. It should not be more than 15 to 18 slides. Investors don't spend more than 90 seconds on a deck. It is very, very important to grab your audience's attention. It's not always easy, but you've got to find a way to establish attention and excitement. Tell the story of an existing customer and the problem you solve. For example, this sets a tone for your future points, like describe the problem and solution. What problem does your company solve? Pitching PowerPoint presentations are all about showing that you found a problem that needs your help, and make sure make sure to add how your startup solves this problem. Explain the market. How widespread is the problem you seek to solve? Investors need to understand the total addressable market or the potential number of customers you might seek, and make an ask, whether that's funding or recruiting pitch for, new teammates, most pitch presentations result in asking for support and the, need that you want to grow. I also believe that you should outsource the design work. Use a business pitch template to skip far ahead in the design process. Use infographics to illustrate key processes. An infographic is a visual that helps you, show off processes or key data. It breaks from traditional charts like graphs, bar charts with more custom visuals that explains the concept, and add SWOT slide for visual strategies. One of the most, successful visuals for a pitch deck is a SWOT slide. This type of analysis includes highlighting your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and your threats. Apart from this, since investors only look at numbers, it is better to present a unit metrics or business plan first only as numbers are of their concern. This should include revenues, exit strategy, and the type of investment you are looking for, whether it's equity, whether it's debt, or whether it's a CCD. And I always tell all the startups to make a video presentation. Investors do not spend, like I am repeating, more than 90 seconds on a deck. Keeping that in mind, you should ideally make a video presentation and show, that post the business plan. And you should explain every aspect of your presentation in a layman's term. This will ensure that they understand your business to the fullest. Keep it brief, to the point, and keep it interesting. Make sure that the explanation flows smooth like a story and does not take too much time to understand. Lingering on one slide for more than 2 minutes may lead to the investor losing their focus. In addition to this, anticipate questions and answer them ahead of time, and while making sure to clarify every detail to avoid confusion. And, it's very important to show your mission and vision of the company, your team, then a problem slide, a solution slide, an opportunity. What is the opportunity that you're giving it to the investors? So these are some of the important slides that have to be in the pitch deck.
It's great, great points by all. I want to come to video for a moment. Video pitches. I'm a little mixed on this personally, and having also on with all of you, spoken about this, written many pitch decks, for better or for worse, good or bad, lessons learned throughout it all, and it's fun. It's a ton of fun. But the video pitch, sometimes it doesn't come off emotionally the same way or enthusiastically as a pitch does one-on-one. When you get a pitch deck, do you expect, and Vandana, I'm going to hold you off on this one because you said that you do like this. So Jason and Nicole, to you, pitch decks, do you expect a video with it in coordinates, especially now as things are so digitally, or do you just look at the pitch deck, give it a certain level of guidance, and then say yes or no and move forward with a meeting? Jason.
Yeah, I don't really expect someone to have a pre-recorded video pitch. I expect them to send me the pitch deck. I can review it, then set up a call, and then they may do a live pitch or go through it with me, but I don't expect a pitch ahead of time. Now, one thing I've seen really work well with video recorded pitches is the demo days of accelerators like Techstars. They do video pitches ahead of time, and that's the first time you actually get to hear from the company. So something like that works quite well. At least since things have gone virtual, that's the way they've been doing it. But if I'm setting up a one-on-one call with someone, I prefer they just send me the deck and then we have a conversation.
Nicole.
I'm a big fan of the video pitch, I gotta say. I mean, a lot of times I am looking at MarTech or ad tech companies. And if you're in that space, you gotta know video and you've gotta know how to produce a basic good video. It also gives you insights into the personality of the leader. And that's a big part of it as well. You're wanting to really understand this person, and without being able to get together in real life a video can be super helpful. So I'm a big fan of having some sort of video content along with your pitch deck. I don't necessarily need you to drum on through the whole pitch deck for me. I want to see a little bit of you. I want to see you tell your origin story and show your passion for your business. So things like that really lend themselves to video. And I'm not sad that we're all up leveling our skills that way. It's helpful and it's interesting and be a little entertaining as well.
I like it. All right. I'm being swayed the other way to embrace the video pitches now as well. So those listening, feel free to send me your video pitch. With that being said, what's the one slide that everyone tends to forget or lacks real meat on it as well? Because there is always one. Everyone's probably going to have a different answer as well. Nicole, let's start with you. You worked on pitch decks for a few years. I'll just say that for a few years, and you've seen the best and the worst. What's one slide that typically doesn't get enough love, and how would you improve it?
Know exactly what you need. Know exactly what you need and communicate that clearly and succinctly. I don't mean just have a killer financial model. That's an imperative. That's a basic. Yes, you need to have a really solid financial model, but be able to articulate and know exactly what you need and convey that to the investor. So that may mean that you need clients of a certain type. That may mean you need to grow your partnerships. It may mean that you need technical talent, which right now there's a crisis for technical talent globally. How will you solve that? Know what you need and convey that in a clear and succinct way. And my business mentor, Phil Schlein, he was the CEO of Macy's. He was on the board of Apple. Just such a beautiful, delightful man. And I'm grateful to talk to him pretty much weekly still. He always asked entrepreneurs, and I have subsequently done so as well, we ask entrepreneurs to know not just year over year what you think you need, like show that over the course of the next 3 years, but show me quarterly what you believe you need. Because most investors know that'll really show us if you know your business and where you might need help. And you don't have to have all those answers, but do your best. Know what you need and convey that really clearly and succinctly.
It's a great point, Jason.
Yeah, I do agree with Nicole said. I call it the ask slide. Tell us what you're looking for, whether it's outside of capital, partners, beta users, customers, etc. But outside of that, there's a lot of different things that entrepreneurs may not dive deep enough into. So your go-to-market strategy, I do see some pitch decks that don't really dive that deep into it. And so we need to feel comfortable that you have a good plan to actually get your product out there so you can actually start selling it. So some entrepreneurs just don't spend a lot of time on that. They also may not spend a lot of time on their competitive differentiators. Some do a better job than others, but I've seen some that just need to spend more time on that. A good chart's pretty good. A Y and X axis where you show the quadrants, those work well, or a check the box type of chart as well. But the entrepreneur is always going to look favorable, of course, but at least it shows that you've looked at all the different pieces, you know where you fit in the market. So some entrepreneurs just don't spend a lot of time on those things.
Couldn't agree more. That's one of my slides that I think I've spent the most time looking at and also speaking about is that competition slide, because I may or may not know your market. And if I know your market better than you, that's a dangerous sign for you walking in. And if I do, paint the picture to everyone's point thus far. Tell me why the story, why you are building what you are, and why it's a necessity to exist. And more so how it compares to those. It's okay if there's crossover, there should be. I'm expecting it. If you've created something that no one else has, we're probably all kidding ourselves. But you should be able to show how you are comparing against those. within your market or surrounding markets as well. This is a common practice, but it's typically forgotten about as well, unfortunately. But we're calling it out. Entrepreneurs, listen up. All right, Vandana, same to you. What's that one slide? That one slide that you just want to see done a little bit better, that you'd give some advice on to entrepreneurs?
What happens is that many times we forget to tell the investor what is it in for him or her. So the exit options we forgot to put in the slide for the investors. So I think that's very, very important. And a unit metric slide is the other slide, which is my favorite, because it explains the entire business plan with new numbers as to what is it that is there in store for the investors, and whether the hard-earned money of the investor, should be put in that kind of a company or no. And slightly going back also, Kyle, to the video thing, as children, we show them visuals. And when we show them visuals, they understand, better. Similarly, adults also, when we show them visuals, they understand the company, the structure and the person behind it more better. And it also reveals the passion of the startup behind it. So video pitch deck or a product video is always important, along with the write up that we write to the investors, with the pitch deck and with the video pitch deck. And these two slides are very important. What is it that you are giving it to the investors? What is the exit plan?
One other I'll throw out there, I think that typically also gets forgotten, is the use case. So how is your product used? And even in some cases, an example of your customer and how they are using it, right? We talk about the problem. We have the introduction. We talk about the problem. We talk about the solution. We start introducing the product and its features and maybe one or two others. And then sometimes that use case gets completely skipped over. How is this product actually going to be used in a real world environment? And this is very important when we look at new and rising industries like artificial intelligence or blockchain, how crypto and digital assets are playing a role into different industries, how quantum, all these different areas we talk about here on on VCTV, these all play a role because they are so unique. You talk about genetics, food, MarTech, AdTech, talk about gaming, all of this. How is it being used and applied in market? And then we get into how is it actually going to make money, business model.
Yeah.
That's another one I start to see a little bit of slippage on. It's okay. You don't have to reveal your secret sauce, but I want to know that Jason is going to pay $1 and Nicole's going to pay $1 and Vandana is going to pay $1 for your product. Therefore, you're going to make $3. That's what we want to see in some cases. And also, once you do that, to Nicole's point, the market. What market are you going after? Who's your competitors? What's your financials? What does that projection look like? What is it going to be? We know that, year one hopefully is a little bit on track. Things are going to change after that. It's okay. Give us an idea how you think so that we understand how we may work together. That team slide, who's on the team, who's important, who's relevant, why are you all the team to make this happen? And then one other slide we haven't talked about, a roadmap. We don't need to know every single detail, every single step in your path towards success. But we need to know something. What's to come in the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months? High level, a little detailed in the next 3 to 6, high level for the next 6 to 12 after that. So we understand, again, where this project is going, so that we understand more where this is going to go from a project to a company and a company to a business and thrive. Where's that ask? What are you looking for? And in some cases, where may that exit be as well for those that are investing? And then you have the appendix for everything else, all the technical details, all the financial, anything else you want to share, throw it in the index. That's your basic rundown, everybody, for building a pitch deck based on everyone's responses here and all of our years of experience. Nicole, I think you have a question.
I just wanted to add and kind of connect a number of dots. One of the things that we also want to see is how you are positioning your company for increased valuation, right? Yeah. So Kyle, you've been mentioning the growth path and strategy. And yes, we need to see that growth path, that strategy. You need to show where you're going to put a stake in the ground, and you need to demonstrate momentum, because guess what? It's a conversation that's going to continue over time with that investor. And so when you communicate with them the second time, the third time, the fourth time, you want to demonstrate momentum on the strategy that you communicated. What that does is it shows us as investors that, ooh, okay, this person is really focused on growth, but is making traction in different areas. Like, for example, an area that will increase your valuation is if your IP is protected, your intellectual property, maybe you've gotten a patent, maybe you have a number of contracts or letters of intent from prospective customers that are in your sweet spot. Show us that. All of those assets demonstrate increased valuation, right? And we want to make bets on companies that are only going to continue to increase in valuation. And it's never too early to think about valuation and communicate to building valuation to prospective investors.
Absolutely. I know everyone else has one last thing to add. So closing thoughts for anything else that you want to give out there in terms of advice for entrepreneurs and where you can be found. Jason, let's start with you.
Yeah, one other thing I want to add in that your use of fund slide, make sure you tell us what the milestones you're going to reach with raising this capital. Are you going to get a certain amount of revenue, certain amount of customers, launch in a certain amount of markets? But a lot of entrepreneurs don't tell us what the milestones they're looking to reach with the capital. So it's pretty important that you go beyond just telling us the use of funds, but telling us the milestones. So that was my last tip I wanted to share. And for those that are interested in connecting with me later, you can find me on LinkedIn or my Propellant Ventures website, or my email is jason@propellant.vc. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jason. Vandana, closing thoughts, where can you be found?
I feel, it is very, very important to get your pitch deck done by a professional. Because, sometimes you may not have that skill set or the knowledge as to how to build a proper pitch deck, which can get you the right kind of investments and the right kind of investors for your startup. Since I've been in this industry for 20 years and I've made more than 7,000 pitch decks in the last 7 to 8 years itself, I would recommend people to, look up my LinkedIn profile and my website and reach out to me if they need the services of pitch deck making, financial modeling and valuation, and business plan making. And once again, thank you for having me here.
Thank you very much, Vandana. Nicole, close us out. Closing thoughts, where can you be found?
Okay. Yeah, I think I've shared a lot today, but it's never too early to position for growth and valuation. Know your market, know your audience, and engage with me. I love helping entrepreneurs on their path to build their pitch decks at different stages. A lot of times lately, I'm working with kind of that growth or later stage company that is positioning for some sort of major exit. So that's a great sweet spot to engage with me. And I can be found on LinkedIn and also on our Outfront Solutions website. You can actually go there and even schedule a meeting with me. So thanks for having me today. And it's a joy to be with all of you experts, Kyle, Vandana, and Jason.
Thank you very much, everyone. Really appreciate the thoughts and insights again today on the topic of building an ideal pitch deck. A pitch deck is something that will be different for everybody. Again, doesn't matter the side of the table you're on, investor, founder, operator, marketer, doesn't matter. It's going to be different for everybody, but there are core pieces, as we discussed in this episode today, that you should include in that process as well. But you find the story that works for you to tell the best version of it to those and the audience that you are telling. With that, everyone have a wonderful day. Big thank you again to Jason, Nicole, Vandana for all their thoughts and insights on today's topic. If you haven't done so already, please do reach out and connect with each and every one of them, myself included. We'd love to speak with you, not just on today's topic, but on what you may be building as well. But when you do reach out, add context where you heard us, where you met us, and what you would like to continue the conversation about. Big thank you to the Latoken team, to Hasmik and Maria for making today's episode possible. With that, everyone have a wonderful day. We'll be back here with more VCTV a little later. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye, everyone.